Let's head into papers now, see what the headlines are across Nigeria this morning, and let's see what. Let's begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust says, Labour to federal government, you must return to old fuel price, electricity tariff. We have the poor at heart. The SGF, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, is saying this. Workers can't be your sacrificial lamb. The TUC is telling government here. And quote, stop strike by workers. All right, so all of that still goes on. That's the Daily Trust. I guess my Nigerians will be interested in this. Now, Friday leadership, or Leadership Friday, is the next now. Fuel, electricity price hike. Federal government, Labour refused to shift ground as court stops protest. The negotiation continues on Monday. The federal government to address petroleum product transport safety challenges, and oil marketers, others, profile solutions. That's the Leadership newspaper. News Direct is next. News Direct says presidency kicks over UK lawmakers, allegation of widespread killings. Presidency kicks over UK lawmakers' allegation of widespread killings. That's the News Direct. Blueprint newspaper is next now, and it says it's still on the fuel price and electricity hike. Federal government parleys Labour as court halts strike. Federal government parleys Labour as court halts strike. And the IGP, DG, DSS directed to shield workers from harassment. A meeting fruitful to continue on Monday. Ngigi Waba is saying that, okay, that's the Blueprint newspaper. The Daily Times is next now, and he says, deadlock as federal government, Labour maintain rigid positions on new tariffs. Deadlock as federal government, Labour maintain rigid positions on new tariffs. Okay, that's a Daily Times newspaper. National Economy is next now. World Maritime Day, that's the focus here. Shippers rally support for deep seaport projects. Shippers rally support for deep seaport projects. So say more investments will increase Nigeria's trade. Okay, that's the National Economy. Business Day is the last one now, and that's the next we're looking at. Business Day says ticketing corruption by railway staff, soldiers, policemen derailing Abuja-Kaduna rail project. Ticketing corruption by railway staff, soldiers, policemen derailing Abuja-Kaduna rail project. Okay, that's a Business Day. All right. Let me welcome my guest in here. I have Chartered Accountant and Public Affairs Analyst Sheson Okunade joining me on Skype. Sheson, good morning. It's good to have you join me right now.
Good morning, Mike. Thank God it's Friday, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Thank God it's Friday. Let's look at this story. The stories on the development between the labor movement and the federal government. We have it on the front page of Daily Trust. The Leadership newspaper has it, and Daily Times also has it. Blueprint has it. You know, it's one of the biggest stories right now. Recall that there was meant to be a meeting yesterday, and there's still no headway yet, although the minister has said that, well, we're making progress and then we'll reconvene on Monday. But what do you make of this? Because already there is an industrial court, you know, setting an injunction to Labour not to go on strike. What do you make of this?
Thank you very much. I will start by saying the way the government are handling the issue of labor, and also the way Labour too are handling the people they are actually representing, personal view, is really not too okay by me. I've said in some fora where I made my position known that before the government came out with some of this position, is there, are we saying that the Labours were actually not considered as stakeholders in this particular thing? Because we all know that the essence of government is actually to give the people a better life, which Labour plays a prominent role. But we have been saying this, that enough of government just bringing out policies without carrying the stakeholders, most especially the Labour. Because if you look at what an average person does or take up, if you look from the minimum wage of 30,000, we've seen that several things have actually skyrocketed, and an average person is not having the better life that is expected of them. So when you see the two elephants like this fight, the labor on the part of the masses and the government on their own part, it is the masses that suffer. Come to think about it, we've had a strike, let me say strike, for about 5 months because we were all indoor. I'm practically telling people to stay indoor and now resist what the government is doing. I think it might meet some little break wall because people are actually struggling. Businesses are just returning back to it. And I think we should look for a better means, possibly through dialogue, to get something established rather than saying we should go on strike and people will stay at home. This is just on my own position. And on the position of the government taking them to industrial court to halt the strike, we know that the government themselves severally have never obeyed the court law. But we are not saying that is the proper thing for them to do. But when things like this happen, rather than imposing or authoritatively controlling, we should look for a way. Before now, we should put the people, the masses, we should put them at heart. Even if the policy is right, the timing is very, very wrong because there is serious hardship in the land. An average person cannot survive as we speak. And increasing all this without controlling your cost of governance is actually not having it in the right perspective.
All right, Sheson, if I have to stay with the issue of timing, a lot of analysts have said that the COVID-19 created an opportunity for all of that because the country was shut down. Nothing was working. So as we take off right now, some analysts are saying, if you don't take it off now, then when will be the best time to do that? Referring to all of the subsidies and all of those.
Yeah, we understand, Mike, that we need to remove subsidy. But we all know that the subsidy itself is entrenched in scam. We all know that has actually been, and we've actually been asking for the regulation. But part of what we have actually been putting pressure on the government on is, can we just get the processing side right by getting our refinery on so that we can have minimal cost on the fleet and all other things, because you cannot have it's just only in this part of the world that you have the raw materials and you cannot benefit from having raw materials. Rather than that, you are benefiting other people outside the country who get a lot, because when we refine this in this country, there are other byproducts that will assist the economy and reduce even the cost of production. But here we see ourselves exporting the raw materials and importing the crude oil, which is not giving us a good leeway. But we must just get this right. I think setting up a good refinery, not only relying on Dangote, will make a lot of difference and we will definitely move forward.
All right. We were speaking to the secretary of the TUC in Lagos earlier on, just a few minutes ago, and he made reference to, you recall in 2016 when government was saying that they had removed subsidies, that there were no subsidies anymore, and then also talking about the subsidies again in 2020. Now, do you have concerns regarding the straightforwardness or the issues around subsidy removal when government says there's no longer subsidy and then there's still the negotiation about subsidies years after?
Yeah, personally, I think the government has allowed the people to lose confidence in them. There is this issue of trust. When the government was even coming in, part of what we understand is that they don't believe that subsidy exists. And I remember the Minister of Information said that who are they subsidizing? But quite pathetic, when they came into being, they saw the subsidy and the same was still applicable to them. And above that, for the last 5 years, even when they said they removed it, they've told us that they were actually removing it gradually and not in full. We've had it now that this is subsidy, that they are removing it now. I know maybe in the next 2-3 years, you hear that we just have to pay it because the people resist it. But I think the government should be consistent in their words to the people to earn our trust. There is trust betrayal here, and that's why people don't really have confidence in any policy that is being propagated by this administration, even though they are working. But people seems not to have. One, there is no trust. If whatever you are doing, the rest cannot just move on. So I think they should restore that confidence where people can trust them when they talk, and from there we can move on. But I think on the part of the labor, they should get more involved, not when the policy has actually been spelled out. That is when we start reacting to some of these things, because the masses definitely bear the brunt.
All right.